Alrighty. I don't know, afternoon, evening, whatever it is. It is 2 p.m. my time. I am doing a late stream today versus 5 a.m. in the morning. I had a couple of errands I had to run today, so I'm really sorry about getting started late here today. But yeah, Bitcoin did not manage to get back above the level we needed for it to get above, and we ended up felling the level that we were holding. So if you recall, we were holding here. This was our weekly level in here. And it's not great because we've completely lost that weekly level. Now, on the weekly time frame, we do still have a few days here where we can try to reclaim it. But so far, we have broken our four. We broke our daily, which was this one. And I told you that I could have moved it up slightly, but I was going to leave it exactly where it is, which is what I did. I left it exactly where it was. We came back up and we back tested that, and we got rejected from that. And once we got rejected from that back test on that daily, we slipped through the weekly that time, and then that was over. So we lost our four as well, which our four was up here. I have taken the 4 hours off of the chart, and this was the one before. So this was our daily one right here, and you can see how we came back up and back tested our daily one, and we didn't hold it. And of course, our weekly one was right here where we got the double top at. And once we broke that, that took us out of the bullish control zone on our weekly charts. And then all we had left to do was to see if we can hold these next levels, which we haven't been able to do. Now, I have shared the weekly time frame. So my thesis for Bitcoin has been around the daily time frame and the charts that are lower than that. But on the weekly time frame, we did have a bearish squeeze on the weekly time frame that I've shared with you, and also on the monthly time frame, because I don't know if this time is going to be different. Everyone's saying it. I'm trying to lean in on the sentiment that this time could be different, but on the monthly time frame, we also have that monthly squeeze as well. So I've listened to a couple of different influencers talk about the squeeze on the weekly. I don't know if they know this, and I'm assuming that they don't know it, but that the squeeze is already broke. It's already started to expand down from that squeeze, and the way to read it was to recognize that it was actually going to squeeze to the downside. So on this channel here, on the Coin King channel, I do talk a lot about the Bollinger Bands, and I do try to emphasize on what to use and how to see when you're going to get that breakdown or when you're going to get a pop to the upside. So that was a 15-minute time frame. You can already see here on the 1 hour time frame. Actually, put you on the 4 hour time frame. You can already see right here on the 4 hour time frame, we slipped straight through this support zone right here. And a lot of times what you'll find is when you break through a potential support zone, you will come back and you'll test it as resistance. So obviously there are not enough orders in here, not enough demand in this zone right here, which means that there was probably sellers sitting in here that managed to, the price managed to slip through there because there wasn't enough demand here. So if we go back up, let's just say, for instance, that we do find some buyers in here, which is going to be here around our monthly candle low. So we haven't had a closure, a lower candle close on a monthly time frame just yet. So you really want to watch that, and I'm gonna cover all the bases here on Bitcoin, but you really do want to watch that monthly time frame to see where you finally get a candle close lower, because we haven't had that yet. We wicked it slightly, but we haven't had a closure below a single monthly candle just yet off of this recent swing high. We haven't had a candle closure. Okay, so we broke through this support level in here, and our next one again would be coming down into here, 108, 309 to 107 here. Now, you know that I'm waiting for a move all the way down in the 90s. That's something that we've been watching here on the Coin King channel for a couple of weeks now, probably longer than that. Just looking for that move down in the 90s because we have a lot of confluence down there at the 90s. So so this is what I have been looking for, as you're aware, is this somewhere down in here. This may have to move slightly. I dropped it a little bit lower in case we get any sort of deviation, but this can be moved. So what we have noticed on the weekly time frame, and I can share that with you from here, is that we have the golden pocket sitting down here at 93.91. We have the CME gap sitting down here around 90. We also have the 60 EMA from the weekly time frame, and it's choppy because this is coming from the weekly time frame right here. So you know that we have back tested that 60 and we have bounced from that 60 on the weekly time frame twice. So my thing is we'll come back into that, and all of that confluence is sitting down here, which is what I will be waiting for Bitcoin to retrace into here. Now here's the kicker and the catch for us right here. Let me see if I can find it. It may only show up on my 15-minute time frame. It may only show up there. All right, so on the weekly, when we identify a squeeze and the direction of that squeeze, it tends to do with whichever which part of the band is moving. So I flatten out my band, and when my lower band rises and my top is flat, I'm looking for a break to the downside. That's what I'm looking for. Lower band is rising. Top band, I don't know where my speech is at today. Top band is flat. I'm looking for a break to the downside. And you can see that we've already broken down and into, because we lost a 20. There's your 20. We lost a 20. And we lost a 20 right here. That's where we lost a 20 SMA right here, which is how I can tell where price would come back and back test or things of that nature by just taking that top down analysis, monthly, weekly, daily, and my 4-hour, and applying it to the lower time frame so I can see what's actually happening in the chart. So this is where we lost that at here. We also got a cloud cover in here. I haven't used this indicator here in a minute, but we got a cloud cover in there. And so, yeah, this is the start of the expansion. Now, the only way I'll be able to tell if it's going to do something different, it has an option. Like I said, we can reclaim that 20 SMA, and 20 is what I use, not 21. We can reclaim that 20 SMA. We still have time to do that. It doesn't have to break down totally here just yet. It doesn't have to. It can do exactly like it did over here, which this was back in 2023, June of 2023, where we started to expand a little bit. And let me auto on that and zoom us in so we can see that. So you can see right here, we broke the 20 SMA and we were looking for an expansion to the downside. When that expansion started, we flattened out. The bands flattened out. We caught support instead, and we reclaimed back above that 20 SMA just to put in this low here on the indicator. And then we came back for a second break to the downside. So it does indicate that the move will be to the downside. That's it. But when you start to see this happen, when your top starts to decline and your bottom starts to lay flat on you, then that's price looking to be accepted up. So you're looking for an expansion up when that happens. We don't have that right now. All we have is our expansion that came from the downside, which indicates that price breaks to the downside. That's what we got. Rising low, flat top means you break down. Rising low, flat top means you break down. Rising low, flat top, that means you break down. And that's how it works every single time. Rising low, flat top means you break down. So I don't know how, I've seen people repeatedly, it irritates me a little bit because I'm very fond of Bollinger Bands. I'm probably the queen of Bollinger Bands. So I know how to read them pretty well to know where expansions will happen at and what direction they'll happen at, which is something that's really, really difficult for a lot of people because they say you cannot tell what direction volatility is going to go. You can only see that there is volatility. But I've managed to map it out to be able to identify the direction on it. So again, if we look at this here too also, so this is the 20 SMA. How much did we move away from the 20 SMA? And when we did, we came into, again, at 60 EMA. So here we moved down 23%, 23% down. Here we moved down 19%. So that was a 4% difference here off of the 20 SMA. And again, if we do it again right here, and I minus 4 from it, then that's a 15% down, almost a 16%, but 15% down, just taking away 4 into the 20 SMA. And the green dot right here represents the 20 SMA, which is what we have seen Bitcoin bounce off of. So you can see some sort of a move back up like this right here. Not saying that that's impossible. If we reclaim back above the 20 SMA, which is what we need to see price action do, reclaim back above 20 SMA, if that is possible, if this expansion does not continue to the downside. But right now it does look down. And again, around the $90,000 region is what I will be waiting for, because all the confluence sits around that $90,000 region. I have closed out a lot of positions, things that I was waiting to change market structure that did not manage to get there, as Bitcoin is dropping. And Bitcoin again is saying, if I can't have you, nobody can have you. Biddy, it'll drag everything down with it. If your money's not here, your money's not going to work anywhere else. So I've closed out a lot of positions that I had open, just going into stable coins instead, just to kind of wait and give price action a little bit of time to decide what it wants to do, whether it recovers or it continues down, just so I have that money to be able to put it back into the market. I can't do that if I'm tied up in projects that I'm losing value, my dollar. So if I take this away, so I'm going to take away the 20 SMA. I'm going to put back on the EMA ribbons in here, and then you'll see here's your 60. You can see we tapped the 60. This was our low when we tapped into the 60. This was our low when we tapped into the 60. And that lines up perfectly. Just minusing that 4 off of here. That lines up perfectly. And then, I'll be looking for a tap into the 60. We are heading into our 26 EMA right here, which is at 107.237. And again, around this 107, that's where you're going to find that we have not had a daily candle closure low just yet. So that's here. This was the last time we went below our monthly low candle, but you can see that we never got a closure below our monthly low candle. So once that starts to happen, I'm going to start looking at Bitcoin a little bit sideways. And only reason is because, like I said, I'm still I'm still in this tug of war of whether or not this time is going to be different or not. I can tell you one thing that's different about now versus the last 2 cycles is the chop. This was not, from this point up, a lot cleaner of a move up. But once we get past this point here, we chop. And then we could see another chop right here. The chop is not something that we're used to seeing. Bitcoin is used to I'm just going to pump on you. I'm just going to, what I just said. I'm just going to pump on you. I'm not going to do all this back and forth with you. We going this way. You coming with me or not? So that's how it's been. Right here. I'm just going up. We've never seen this much chop. Oh, even back here. Like I said, this one is fine, but it's just not something that Bitcoin is used to doing. So we have seen Bitcoin chop to make our highs. I don't know what that tells us. I just know that that's different. I would assume that that's weakness because it's just not that clean. I'm just going straight for the jugular. No, this was toying around right here. But I mean, this is where we're at again. Just looking to see if we do end up losing that 107 in getting a candle closure below this monthly candle. If we do that, then we will be looking to continue our move down. We'll be looking to see if we hold that 60 EMA and get a bounce the same way we did here and the same way we did here, because if we don't, then we can be doing this once again, where potentially this could have been the top. And I'm trying to figure out like what would have thrown the market off. And the only thing I can think of is how quickly we broke. I don't know if it's how quickly we broke the all-time high, or if it's how fast we started to rally up past breaking that all-time high. And that's what I'm thinking. Like, it probably changed mathematics, and instead of me looking for October, it probably changed the dynamics back to, what is this, to August, possibly. Because you can see here, I'm looking at October. You can see here, I'm just going off what the math shows me in the chart. It shows me 1,065 days before you hit your top. And the top doesn't come in until October. Well, 165 days or 164, but 166, I'm sorry. So either 165 or 166, a day difference. That's still October. And that's what the chart shows me. From the low to the high, it took 1,066 days or 1,065 days. And then from there, it was a straight even 365 days down. It was 365 days down here. And I don't have to fluff anything up. You can go back and do this yourself. From the high to the low, to where it was an absolute low and we ran up, it was 365 days down, the same way from these past two times in here. That was the math. And if I do that math again, it tells me that it's next month, and it's the 20th. When I did it off of the daily time frame, it was the 20th of October. So that's the only thing that's still giving me a little bit of hopium that we can get that move up, that additional move up. And then maybe in October, maybe this time isn't different, and we do see the end of the bull rally, and we start into that one year down bear market. And when that happens, we tend to come back to the dynamic cloud, and we actually pretty much come back towards the low. So you'd be somewhere between your 618 and your what is it, the 786. We'll just say your 618 and your 786. It might be the platinum pocket, so it could be. I think it's the 886, but I would have to go back and check, because the original data that I had on this, it did get wiped out some kind of way, and I just haven't taken the time to go back and do it. But I do know that you will come back into wherever this dynamic cloud is sitting, and at the current moment, it is 62,041. And I'm not trying to sound like that's it. That's exactly where we're going at this moment. You don't need to worry about trying to buy Bitcoin anymore. You don't need to worry about trying to buy altcoins or anything like that. I'm not trying to sound that way at all. I have not flipped bearish on Bitcoin at all. I don't have a reason to flip bearish on Bitcoin right now. I'm just forward thinking, so we can be prepared for things that can happen, and we'll know what we're looking for. So like I said, it's usually going to come back into here, into this dynamic cloud. And right now it's 6241. Same way over here, it came into it. You don't see much of an expansion. This was just a small little pierce right here, small little overlap right here, or overshoot, very tiny right here. But you're bound to come back into that. Just like in here, you come back into it. Just like in here, you come back into it. And just like in here, you come back into it. So you can see from your high to your low what we'll be looking for in terms of coming back, where we want to start accumulating. If we start to break market structure, this is what we'll be looking for right here, to say, hey, this is where I'm going to start deploying my capital. For me, that's probably how I'll do it with Bitcoin personally. This is where I'm going to start deploying my capital into accumulating Bitcoin. So I'm not trying to catch a falling knife all the way down in the event that happens, and when that happens. All right. So it's in a little bit of a bounce right here. We're probably reclaiming our level in here right now. We'll see if we just push straight through. I like to typically go with the high in here. And right now that high is at 110,420. we'll see how we react. If we reject in here, then we know for sure that this was where sellers were sitting at, and we may end up coming back down into here around this monthly candle low. And I put in, oh gosh, I know it was somewhere down here around 80, and I may have used a different chart when I mapped it out, but I think it was somewhere around like 80, 89 or something like that. But we'll just go back over and we'll look at it on the higher time frame. So yeah, I think the only thing that I updated and posted on Twitter for the most part was Aster, because I could tell that, and I had been trading Aster. I got stopped out of my long position last night. I did have my stop loss in place, and I did TP one on Aster, and then just the rest of it just was, break even back into the market. But that the high swings for Aster, so it was making those highs, but it was weak. It was weak. You can see the movement was weak, and you can tell that the movements are weak when you're making a high, particularly used in Bollinger Bands, because you don't expand. And the Bollinger Bands don't look like they're trying to expand. They actually just look flat. And so that indicates a weak high, especially if you see price action making a higher high, then you should see an expansion. And if you're not seeing an expansion, then it's a weak high. Same thing goes for your lows as well, which the lows on Aster was actually expanding versus the highs, which were not expanding. So that's like been the winner here lately. So yeah. All right, so this is our first touch back in our zone right here. We're getting a little bit of a reaction. We still got 37 minutes to see if this is going to let us back in, and if we can get back through this top right here for some sort of a continued move back up on Bitcoin. Let me move us to a higher time frame in here. Just makes it a lot easier to look at. Right, so you remember we got our inverse head and shoulder here. You can see how we held this support there. We held this support there as well. And this data may be drawn off of that for sure. This was resistance in here, resistance right here, resistance right here. So really good level. Strong level. But the fact that we're breaking it, if we reclaim it and we start to chop and hold it, then that's a great thing for us in here. I have this big gap in here. Something must have gotten deleted. Yeah, one of my levels have been deleted. I was going through cleaning up my 15-minute time frame, and I must have clipped that level in here. Now, I know that we were using the 20 SMA, but there was a level in here, and it has completely been wiped out. I'm like, why do I have this big gap in between here? Because I know I'm supposed to have a level in here somewhere, and being that I don't see it, I need to make sure I restore that. So, that's weird that I managed to do that. Let me turn this on. All right, so we're back inside. I really hate that I have not been using this indicator right here as much here lately, but I know when it sort of gaps up like that, and you lose the zone, you're liable to come back in and back test that dynamic cloud, and you don't come back into it, especially when it does it like that. I call that feature a thunderbolt, because that's what it looks like, a cloud with a bolt shooting out of it. And the same thing that happened to the upside when you get that scoop. You get a bowl, something like that. That's a thunderbolt up. Or no, that's a Jack and the Beanstalk. Yeah, that's a Jack and the Beanstalk right there. So that's a seed plant growing out of the ground and up. So I haven't used this in a minute. It's always on my chart, but I usually don't turn it on anymore. Let me see where I can find that level at, because right now all I'm seeing is the SMA. I can put that back on here. Uh, yeah, and if I move off of the latest data, that is going to be just the latest call out. We'll do it like this. And there it is. Yeah. Um, and this is just based off of this most recent swing level over in here. That's how that's justified. If I were to use the additional data going back a little bit more, I would probably have to raise it up a little bit, but yeah, it would be something more like that. And this would be the level. And I know that it's a 4 because I color coordinated, but somehow it was deleted off of the chart, but that is what it is right there. And let me just change the visuals on it because I don't like for it to show up on the minutes. But basically for Bitcoin, I mean that's it's as simple as I can get it to let you know what I'm looking for. I'm looking to see if for any reason we make a closure below our current monthly our previous monthly candle, that can mean a lot more downside, and we don't see that recovery of that 20 SMA on the weekly time frame, which we lost and back tested and rejected from. So that is all this is here, was that back test of that and a clean rejection. That's it. Now my weekly levels, I'm sorry. So when that happens, I start to look towards the weekly levels. So you're looking for the larger swings because you're trying to focus on your larger time frame if that happens. And so we will start to look here next around this 106 to 105 here. But again, that starts to mark rollover. We can still look for positions to take to the long side, but in the process, but the structure will be down, and it's going to be the easiest thing for us to do is to continue to look. Well, I haven't taken any shorts, but that's what we continue to look for. Okay, so here's that zone right here. So 103. This is another level right here. So you're going to have, it's going to be quite a few levels in here to be mindful of. The weekly levels are going to be very important. If you see me do something like this and you see me put a number on it, that's going to be typically important too. Okay, so we have fib levels in here, but really your focus would need to be on, in my opinion, is going to be your weekly swing points, and then anything you see me put in here that has a number on it, those are going to be important levels to watch as well. But for the big move, I will be looking at that CME gap getting filled, since all the confluence lies in there. It's not going to be a straight shot. That's for sure. It's not going to be a straight shot. So we're oversold here on the 15-minute time frame. That's why you're seeing these green candles in here. That means we're oversold. Some sort of a bounce should be pending. There's no pressure here. And in fact, if you look right here, you're barely seeing an expansion, which means that these lows are weak, but they're happening. Why are they happening? Beats the heck out of me. but it is happening. And yeah, these lows are not strong lows, but we have no control over continuing to have that drop. But there are weak lows. So I see Astro looking like it's trying to recover. It has been putting in bear divs on each attempt, and that can be the thing for it. And that's another thing to be aware of is when you see price action trying to move up. If you're getting the bear divs, you're going to see it a lot quicker than any indicator. What indicator confirming it? You're going to see it a lot quicker. So if we just take a look here, I'm just going to use the BB% right here, and I can also use my QTD right here. But you can see how the divergence is happening right here, which is why I love this indicator so much, is because it's easy for me to see when price is diverging, a lot easier for me to see it. And it's also a lot easier for me to see what patterns the market's making. So this one right here, we would have been looking for a break to the upside. But once that break to the upside started to happen, you would immediately notice this divergence coming in. And so price action diverged all the way up through here, which is why we only got a minor push to the upside and we started to drop to the downside. And the same thing you're going to see over here as well. Let me make sure you see it right here too. Oh, I forgot when I have this candles on, you can't really see it all that great. But yeah, when you start to see that divergence, that's usually where you get this jump in the cloud that price rolls over. That's where you typically see it because it deviates. They split hairs here instead of following each other. So anytime they split hairs, that's divergence, and then that's the opposing direction here. But you can see it here too. This is making higher highs and price is not making higher highs and price is not. Even though we had a beautiful squeeze in here, the highs didn't match up and it was a trap. So there's nothing in here for me to want to look at for Bitcoin in terms of looking for a bounce on Bitcoin. There just isn't. There's nothing in here for me. The only way for me personally that I'm really going to start looking at Bitcoin differently is we have to get back above here. We have to get back above here. There isn't a reason for me to get interested in any bounces on Bitcoin. I'm not trying to catch the low or anything like that. Like we really just have to get back above here. And unless we're getting back above there, unless we're getting back above here, which is where we got rejected, I don't have a reason to want to catch the bottom to ride it up. I just don't. And I can wait. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a look at Ethereum as well. Okay. So I did look at ETH a little bit yesterday just to kind of map out what we'd be looking for in here. Once we ended up losing our level in here, I did highlight where I have this one at in here. So Ethereum at the moment is still respecting its weekly time frame. Bitcoin not. Ethereum is, even though Ethereum looks crappy to a lot of people, and it is struggling a bit because it needs to consolidate first to build up pressure to get a move out because it just doesn't have it that off the higher time frames. As I stated, like Ethereum would probably wick and then you'll see it come back in because that's what it did every other time. When you go to your 3-month time frame or your monthly time frame, that's all it managed to do because it doesn't have that restriction just yet, or that pressure built up where people are just piling in and money is piling in, just waiting. It doesn't have that. I don't care who's buying what. BlackRock isn't buying anyways. It's for the exchange. it will show in the charts. And it's not showing in the charts on the monthly or the 3-month time frame just yet. But I'm looking at this level right here where you see the one net, which is 3,795. Right now we are within our weekly range. We'll see if we get down here to it and how we react there. So there's that one there. And there's also the low in here at 3,326. And I have one other one. So you're going to completely bypass this. And then I'll be looking down here at 2,731. Now the position that I've been highlighting here on stream for the past, let me see if I see it. Hold on. Why do I not see it? It had to have been over here. Let me see if I'm just blocking it. Is this the one? I'm asking you, like, is this the one? It may be. Oh, I have it locked. I was trying to slide it over. It may be the one that I've been looking at here for a minute. Just this weekly level in here. To be honest with you, I can delete this now. That was another great short that I didn't take, even though I knew it and I called it out and I shared it with you guys. We've been watching this level to get hit way before that level existed, okay, to be hit. But I just haven't been a short girl ever in my life. In fact, I am 5'9", and some people believe I'm 6 feet tall, and I don't know how they get that because I'm not. In shoes, yes. In heels, 6'3". Yeah, so this is what I'm looking for in here, which is taking the liquidity from here without getting the closure below it. That's actually what I'm looking for right now. You can see that we are trying to respect the highs in here at the moment, which would be great with this level in here. Like I said, this is a weekly. This is what we want to make sure we maintain for our weekly. And if we're doing that, then Ethereum is still looking good. And I wouldn't be looking for this to break down just yet, even though we do have a lower high. And we've also broken the market structure here by taking out this low in here. That can change. We could just be looking at some sort of a pattern in here. And then we're looking for a break to the upside. I mean, it can be just that simple with Ethereum. All we can do is wait to see how we respond to that 37.95 right there if we come into it, or maybe we just hold in here between this golden pocket 786 and never come down here and tap this level to see if we have strength here and we continue up. But do keep that on your chart and in mind. And let me add 2 of these in here for no reason. That must not have anything to do with it. Let me see. Excuse me. No. It's just really a tough one. Let me see why. I can't remember why I'm reading this level. It's important, though. I can tell you that much. I wouldn't just read it to be reading it, and it's not important. I know that it's important because I put it there. I'm just having a hard time manifesting why I put it there, and even why I didn't stretch it all the way up. I'm going to have to come back to you on that one tomorrow on stream. I need to figure out why the heck I did that, because I know I didn't put any notes in here on it. Okay, so forgive me for that. I should be more prepared. Than what I just did. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get back to you on that one. I didn't come here. I don't think I would have put this color on it, and that's what's throwing me off. It seems like that is why I did it. Okay, that's why I did it. Okay, I see why. All right, I did it because right now Ethereum is in the bullish control zone on the monthly time frame, and it starts to lose that monthly bullish control zone once it breaks below here, as you can see right here where you have your standard deviation 1. That's why I did it now. I recognize that, which is also the reason why I said that Ethereum doesn't look like it has the capacity to expand, because this is not an expansion formation. Expansion is something that where you see an onion squeeze. You want to see a squeeze. There's no squeeze in here, which makes every move that Ethereum makes without expansion weak to the upside and to the downside. So that's why. But right now it is within the bullish control zone, which is why I also indicated that Ethereum has the ability to wick through but not hold any moves it makes up and out, simply because it doesn't have that formula in here. It had already at this point right here, after this expansion right here, and you see how you tell it in here into the bullish control zone. Once you lost it, that was it. Especially coming back down here to back test this 20 SMA here on your monthly time frame and come back up. Yeah, that was it. And then you came all the way back down towards your low and you came back up. Like there's no reason for to assume that some sort of an expansion could take place in here. But once it loses this right here, then you know it has lost the bullish control zone, which is between standard deviation 1 and 2. And naturally, you start looking towards your 20 SMA on your monthly time frame, which is going to bring your prices down somewhere within here. I would expect for it to hit one of these weekly levels for sure. This is going to move, and even if this moves up slightly, there's always room to break below it, and then that will have me looking down here between this 29 and this 27 in here. That will draw my eyes to this section in here. And then, of course, if that doesn't work, then you know what the deal is. 3-month time frame right here. Same thing. Like I said, you can wick, but this is not an onion. This is not something you tend to break to the upside on. It's just not in any fashion whatsoever. Is it something that you do explosive moves off of? You don't. So I said early on in Ethereum, and it actually moved beyond it, but I said early on in Ethereum that this would break. Now the 12-hour situation that I did mention, that we could have seen a 12-hour expansion, not on the Bollingers, but on the MACD, that failed. That failed miserably. And it was this 12-hour right here. We'd actually gotten the expansion here, and that what would have been an expansion actually just called the top, which is sad. It actually just called the top, and from there, yeah, unfortunately, because we sat here and we waited, and I remember I said, I'm not selling Ethereum. I know it's going to expand to the upside. I don't care about breaking whatever is going up. Every other altcoin got an expansion off the 12-hour time frame. Ethereum hadn't got it yet. And then we got this move up. And then I was looking for this to hold as an expansion off of your MACD, which it didn't. When we got this cross here, which is typically a bullish cross, we actually rolled over from there. and that's how it's gone. So sorry on that. It does look like we can expect another expansion here on the 12-hour, and I know for sure, if not this weekly, no, it's not this weekly. We're looking to go down right here. We're looking to go down right here. But on Ethereum dominance is what it is. Ethereum dominance, Solana dominance, they're both showing that there will be some sort of an expansion. I'm specifically waiting on the one for Solana over Ethereum, but there is some good stuff to come from there that I've shared. Let's see. Let me just, oh, geez. Jeez. Okay. Let's move right along. Stablecoin, because we watched this. This is how I knew and what we shared on stream about Bitcoin with the golden pocket tap. But again, I'm just not in the mood for shorting. When it tapped back into its macro trend line, that was all we needed to know. USDT dominance tapped back into its macro trend line after us watching this and trying to figure out, okay, is it failing? What's happening right here? No, just simply drop back test into its macro trend line and up from there. So I was looking for it to stop out here just for a minute, and we did get that for a minute, just for a little bit, in here. But these are the measured moves all the way up. I have two in here. One is based on this pattern here, which is the falling wedge, and one is based on the inverse head and shoulder in here. So this is something that we've been watching also. So it doesn't spell well for Bitcoin. I also thought that maybe even though we tap back here into this macro trend line, that we could bounce but not actually deviate so far away from it that we could just chop. We can make some little small highs in here, and that'll be it. But bearing in mind, the worst case scenario would be this, and I can already see over here that we've broken through everything I had over here. Everything. These were all for the levels, because this is so brand new, this stablecoin chart. With the bull dip, of course, down here on the lows. And that break, yeah. Oh, I forgot I added one more in here. Okay, so this is where we're at, unfortunately. Yeah, stablecoin dominance. And this would be our last level of resistance, unless we plan to come up here and take out the high. And this is a little bit of a larger zone. It just is. But that's what we've been looking for. I tried to put two and two together. I really did. I thought, well, the last thing I said was Solana's at resistance. Ethereum's at resistance. Bitcoin dominance is hanging around the 20 SMA. That's a problem. But, and then of course you saw USDT dominance. So when we looked at Solana dominance, which is why I expect all things Solana to roll over, we knew that we were coming into resistance. We knew that we were looking for support in here. We knew that we'd be looking for resistance in the orange in here. And we tapped this first one, and that's our resistance where we have our sandwich at in here. So at first I was just focused on this one and thinking, okay, yeah, like I just said, all things Solana, probably, Solana ecosystem, that's not going to go too far right now. And I thought, hey, Ethereum, and I'm, telling you where I'm wrong at sometimes here. Ethereum it probably get back to outperforming Solana, and that's not the case. When I went back and reviewed, they were both sitting at their resistance points. Ethereum's may not show up over here. Oh, it does. Yeah. So Ethereum, exactly, clean tops back into its resistance. But if we do start to get that move up, that's the extension that I'll be looking for. And I did not come back in here and add those other levels for Ethereum. I just haven't done them yet. I'm sorry for being lazy. I just haven't done them yet. But these three, apparently I must have been right about something, because these were the only three that I added into the chart way back when. And yeah, we're here on that. And then BNB was the latest one, so you're not going to see that over here until it breaks, because that looks nice. So we know that BNB has been on a tear here lately, and once BNB can pop this, you know what, guys, I'm going to go with that. I know there is a way that they assume that altcoin season gets started, and I have just been looking at total 2, and I know you can't account for everything. So it's not that throw paint at the wall or just pick an altcoin and everything just pumps. It's narratives, and put this back on a form and take us over and look at the Binance one. Here's Binance at resistance also. And this is actually supposed to be something that will break down. This is a 2-day chart. I chose to go with the 2-day narrative so I can see it better. I can see that it is coiling in here though. So we do have a coiling situation in here on Binance, and we'll have to see where this goes. So this is going to be your base. If you know anything about base rallies, base drops, that's going to be your base right here. So we're building the foundation for the base, and apparently, according to here, we should be breaking down. So 2 days says down. Weekly is stabilized. Weekly actually looks pretty good. 2 days suggests that it breaks down, and then here we go again. We have the MACD crossing above the delta, which is usually something that means acceleration. And you do have a nice little double bottom here for BNB. So to be honest with you, it's a tough read for me to tell you what direction it's going to go with. If I just go off of the 2-day, we can go sideways in that for a while, at least until we break the 20 SMA. Until that 20 SMA is broken, it can go sideways and up. But eventually it is going to pop. But sideways and up. If I look at the weekly, then there is no definitive direction. It has a beautiful double bottom formation, and you just simply be looking for this neckline to be broken, and there's no telling where BNB and all BNB ecosystem will be at. So BNB could be a good play. Another one that I do need to check out is AVAX, which I have not taken a look at AVAX or mapped AVAX out to see what AVAX dominance against Bitcoin would look like. But this looks pretty good here. And if I look back at this just one more time, let me just slide these out. I swear I don't have OCD. The only thing that bothers me is this. It's the only thing I'm like, okay, the corners are not matching. I will do that with certain things when I'm in the store. But take a look back at this weekly here again, because this just got started. There's no way we end right here. So when you look at the weekly, you can see in here, this suggests again that we expand. This hasn't happened in a long time. The last time this happened was back over in here. Back over here was the last time we saw this sort of indication of some sort of balloon being blown up, and I don't know, some child lost the string or something and just ran to the house. I know it sounds crazy, but yeah, I'm looking for this to pop. I am going to start accumulating some more Solana. Um, once I get a good pullback on Solana, and I just have to look at what the best projects are on Solana right now. But definitely, I will be buying some more Solana. And this took a long time when we're back here. It took a long time to play out. It took a really, really long time to play out. But it was the start of a massive move. So I will be prepping for this. And since I sold so much stuff, I will have room to accumulate some things to buy some more Solana. And the same thing I think was there. I could just do this one right here, to be honest. Not quite. That's right. We did look at Ethereum, say it's going to drop at some point. Because Ethereum squeeze, it happened. Ethereum broke the Bitcoin cycle. You see how long it took Ethereum? Ethereum had a massive squeeze for a minute, and it finally broke the Bitcoin cycle. And then we got that nice little pump out of Ethereum just to shave the grass off of the high and hit resistance. So that was it. So even when your altcoins don't give you any more room to figure out where your top is going to be, you can most certainly find it in your BTC pair. For some reason, I don't understand that, but for some reason you can. Like, there's no more room. Like, that was Ethereum's high, all-time high was here, but when you come over here to the Bitcoin pair, like, you can continue to map out where Ethereum might find resistance at. And I can already see where we're going to be at next, somewhere right in here once it does. But yeah, and it just broke this trend line. Look at that. We just broke this trend line. So there's no way. We can go sideways. This is a nice little cross up right here. We can go sideways. We'll see. We'll see. Now, let me take a look at ADA, because I know ADA has been a big thing for a lot of people, and I've mapped out absolutely nothing over here on ADA. So please forgive me. I'm just going to look at the indicators for now, just to see. Yeah, had a nice little squeeze right in here on ADA. And see our top started declining in here. It actually got the break early, which is probably, I'm gonna show you a trick that I do. You can do this. You don't have to have it like I have mine. If you use the Bollinger percent, you don't have to do that. Free indicator Bollinger percent. This is just the stuff that I did to it. But if you just do this, right click, add an indicator strategy on top of it, it's going to look exactly the same. It's just not going to be flat on your sides, but you can still tell what's moving and what's not moving. Just pop a Bollinger on it. Just overlay it with a Bollinger. You can still see which part of your Bollinger is moving, and you can see that your top is declining. So you can see that. And then with this, it gives you a mean within the mean, because with this indicator alone, it gives you the basic of the Bollinger Band itself. So when you look at your Bollinger Band on chart, it actually shows you where your 20 and where your standard deviation 2s are at right here. But when you drop a Bollinger over that and you compress it even more, then you can see where you're liable to break out from. So you can see right here, and you're never going to get it like evenly onto it, but you can see right here where your BB percent crossed up the mean right here. So if you didn't have this on here, and I'm going to hide it for a second. If you didn't have this on here, you would have just been looking right here, and the move has already happened. So that's why I'm saying to you, just Bollinger Band percent. I love it. It's great with pairing with the Bollinger Band itself, because sometimes you don't always see where the Bollingers are squeezing at. You won't always see it, but you can see it if you just compress something else. So I like to compress the Bollinger percent itself. I never tried it with the Bollinger Band width, and I think that that's where a lot of confusion is coming in. I'm seeing a lot of people starting to talk about the Bollinger Band width. I don't get anything from that. I'm tell you, that thing just confused the crap out of me. So I don't bother with it. It doesn't give you direction. It doesn't. Or maybe I just need to study it a little bit more and see if I can't figure that out. But if you just do this and you can see where you're compressing and where you're liable to break at earlier than waiting on the 20 SMA. And that's how you're going to get that, by doing this little simple trick that I just showed you. Just add the Bollinger Band over the Bollinger Band percent, and that's going to show you where you're going to get your squeeze, and it's also going to give you direction for your squeeze. And you're just looking for which side, again, which side of your Bollinger Band is moving. Is it my top? In fact, let me see. No, I can't do that. I can't do that. Okay, so I can't do that. But you can see right here, squeeze, massive breakout, and you would have caught it right there. This candle low right here, you would have seen this coming up. And sometimes you will chop. You may not always absolutely catch the bottom, but where you start interacting with it, then you can start saying, okay, I'm getting a change of behavior now. This is what I refer to all the time with indicators. When I see a change of behavior happen, especially when you haven't had one. You had this entire fall over here on Cardano. You had this entire fall, and you had no interaction with this mean right here. No interaction whatsoever. Where do people start to get interested? They start to get interested right here. I want to start accumulating a little bit. I don't need to catch the bottom. I just need to be conservative with how I choose to do this. And if, let's just say, for instance, this was the bottom, I just have to take what I get. Okay. I have to take what I get, because I'm not going to be adding and changing my entry. I don't want to increase my entry in case it comes back against me. I don't want to do that. So sometimes that will happen, and sometimes you have to pair with other indicators to make sure. But when I see a change of behavior out of an indicator, like you haven't touched this in a long time, it's like somebody doing something they don't usually do, and it's like, what got into you? You know, I want that. I want to see that. And then pop. Same thing over here. Look right here. You got your Bollinger in here. You see this part right here declining, because it was all the way up here. This is declining. This isn't rising. This is declining. And then you're looking for, now this right here, like it stayed. If you start to see it do this too much, then don't worry about that. If it does it too much, then just wait on the 20 SMA. Because then you're getting chopped up. But, and then the same right in here. Like I said, this started to decline way back, and you can see even with my own indicator, it didn't drop as low as the Bollinger Band itself dropped. So I would have missed it because I was waiting for my own indicator, how I modified the indicator here to actually show me where the squeeze was at. So I would have been waiting on the back test breakout. But this can be a lot faster. Another thing too, let me share this with you. So the other thing, actually, let me turn that off. Okay, so you can see it a lot easier now. So you can see where your decline is coming from. You can see that's my decline. That's my decline. This isn't my rise. This is my decline right here. All right. So the other thing you can use this for too is when it deviates outside the band and comes back in. You see that? It comes back into the band like so. You can be looking for a short. Coming back into the band, you can be looking for a short. Now, is it going to be 100 every time? No. That's where your risk management comes in at. Outside the band, comes back into the band. Sometimes you'll get a deviation or something like that. You didn't get one right here. It actually just decided, hey, I'm not going to break below this mean. I'm just going to reverse at the mean and keep doing my thing. So, but most of the time, it will hit with giving you some plays. Like this was straight up divergence right here. Straight up divergence. But you can find some good entries on where it breaks below and comes back in, or where it breaks up outside of the band and comes back in, versus the Bollinger Band itself. Because with the Bollinger Band itself, when you get that move out, you can stay within Bollinger Band standard deviation 1 and 2 to the upside. But anyway, I know I just went on the rant here. We're all off of Bitcoin. We're not even caring right now that Bitcoin is dropping because I'm not even touching it until it gets back above that level. But I tell you what did just let me see. All right, so Astra might be popping out. I'm not messing with Astra right now, but Astra might be popping out right now on the chart. But yeah, that's a simple thing that you can do with your Bollinger Band percent. Otherwise, when I remove this is what the natural indicator is going to look like. It's just going to look like this. And with this, you would just be looking for your basic. Actually, you're not going to have these green and red, but you can go. You can build out this indicator on your own if you want to. But this is what it's going to look like. Otherwise. All right. So ADA at the moment, yeah, it's not over just yet. That might have been your resistance here for ADA against BTC, but it's still above the 20 SMA here on the weekly time frame, so it's not over just yet. And that looks like what it might have hit. Yeah, look at those two. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. Bam, bam. So that's the resistance right here for ADA. Even hit it right there. I see XRP. Then I'm gonna take us back over to Bitcoin because, like I said, Astra is trying to do a little something here. So let me take this away. I'm gonna put this back on here again. Right click, add indicator. I'm just gonna go Bollinger, and I've already even colored it out. Like, ooh, look at that! Look at that! You could have caught XRP before it even happened. You see that? You see that squeeze? You could have caught XRP before XRP did all this. You would have known. We're not doing anything. Like XRP isn't doing anything. Not yet. Not yet. And there it is. There it is. There's XRP against Bitcoin. Boom. All right. So in here, it's flat. Flat means weak highs, weak lows. It's flat. It did have a small little drop in here, so you can see that. Even the smallest drop, like you don't have to get the complete squeeze, but just anytime you start seeing this start to move down, you just start looking. And then, like I said, especially when you do it like I did it, just add that Bollinger on top of it, and then you start to see. I don't even know what they refer to this as, but once it breaks above here, time to go. Breaks above. Actually, this one broke the 20 SMA faster. So you just have to know what you're looking at. It broke the 20 SMA faster. Time to go. So XRP right now, in my opinion, this is just preparing to go higher. In my opinion, that's what I would say about this. It's preparing to go higher. And I say that simply because the formation of a falling wedge is here, and that usually leads towards something higher. Now, how fast does it happen? I mean, you haven't even broke your 20 SMA or anything like that just yet here on your weekly time frame. So Ethereum, ADA, XRP, so far we've been able to look at them and see that they're still above their 20 SMA on the weekly time frame, whereas Bitcoin is below its 20 SMA on the weekly time frame. So unless Bitcoin reclaims it, I'm not even interested in Bitcoin, because I know without it doing that, it can be going lower. So once it does that, then I'll look back at bidding and I'll decide what I want to do from there. But so far, these altcoins are still holding up. They're still holding up. They have not broken down below it. There is no bear div here on XRP, but versus BTC. No bear div there. No bear div here. Like you had this here. But like I said, when you're stepping down like a falling wedge, then it's a little bit different because you're not making these lows, and the market recognizes that you're not making these lows. So eventually, that's going to break to the upside. So that's that. And back over here to good old Solana. Still above it. It looks like it's charging head on forward, and I don't like this right here. And this is Sol versus Bitcoin, not Solana versus Ethereum. So I need to take that into account too. So if everything is at a wall for Bitcoin, then naturally I would be looking for Bitcoin to get that swing up. And all dominance did was, you can see, come back into the golden pocket 786. My initial post for this right here was the 20 SMA, which is sitting right in here. You won't see it there. You'll see it right here, which is why I like to zoom out when it comes to Bitcoin dominance instead of the smaller time frames monthly. There's really nothing more you need to look at, to be honest. Like we look at the lower time frames when it starts affecting my altcoins, but it's not breaking yet. It's not breaking down yet. It's just back here at the 20 SMA, playing around the 20 SMA in the golden pocket 786. I know we have the fast move break here, which was here. We had that fast move break. If I go back on a weekly, you can see that one. So the trend line across here, that was the fast break right there. But even this right here, this isn't an expansion at all. It's not expansion, but it is still within standard deviation 1 and 2 to the downside. So it still is in the bearish control zone right now, but inside the golden pocket 786. And it looked like we just did push back above the 20 SMA. So we're just back above the 20 SMA. And we can start to look for this to push out a little bit higher. I did do some levels in here for it, but I'm not seeing them. And I don't know why. I just know. Oh, then you have this. You have this little thing in here. Whatever. I don't know. Hockey putt. That's a big. Yeah, that's a big one right there. You do have this. And see how clean those taps are across the top. So you run a channel, you can take this content back. I don't care. I will be your researcher. Okay. You can take all this back, discuss it, whatever. Doesn't bother me a single bit. But yeah, clean taps across here for that little bit of rejection. But again, golden pocket 786, 20 SMA, it has the potential to push back up. It can do that. A little channel, it has the potential to push back up. And if we break out of here, then I don't know what to make of this, guys. I really don't know what to make of it. That was all she wrote over here. So maybe we just come back into the top side of the channel. I gotta turn this on so to catch it. Yeah, why won't it catch it? 6085. So maybe we come back in and we back test in here, and then we're not able to break above this momentum in here. I mean, but like I said, we're slightly above the 20 SMA once again in here. So, and we haven't changed market structure over here. We haven't. Like this is still intact in here. In fact, we don't reach our expansion until we hit that. So how I initially had it, if I turn this off, this is what I posted back when, a couple of months back, was this 20 SMA, because I understood that we could catch that. And then if we move down any further, then we're looking to break into here, which would be our return, and then our expansion would obviously start here at 52. And that's all based on this different one right here on the monthly. That's all based on this. So yeah, dominance continues to look fine. It just does. I am surprised by these lower highs though. Lower highs. So all we can do is look to see if we come back up and we violate this, and if we push up, and if we finally break out, then we all know what's happening right here for Bitcoin. All right. Let's come back over here and take a look at Bitcoin right now. I'm going to turn this off. It is helpful for patterns. We don't have one. We haven't put a pivot in yet, even though it looks like we're trying to V-shape recover. We haven't actually put a pivot in here, so we would still be working with this over here, this 4 hour time frame, which nothing has changed in here, but small little bounce. Let's see if we're holding. Yeah. Yeah. Until we come back up here, I have to say that I cannot get interested in it. We can catch little moves, but let's set resistance. So the little red candle, set resistance. And this helps too when it goes up and then it rolls back over short. That means it couldn't sustain above it. And once it rolls back down below it, yeah, short. Which I'm not doing. Short. So I don't know why this thing works so good, but I just know it works so good. Short. Or whichever comes first. Whichever one gets hit first. This line or the actual 20. Let's take a look at some altcoins real quick here. I do want to discuss Hyperliquid because, and pardon the noise, I know that we're bound to retrace into weekly levels whenever things really get going. So I'm going to turn this off for us. Actually, let me discuss this real quick first, and I'm going to hide all the drawings here. Okay. So I've been watching the squeeze here on Hyperliquid, which typically when I see a squeeze, I do like to add a trend line to it because I'm then, and then I'll turn all the noise back on. I'm then looking for a break in the trend. And let me see. Sometimes I'll do the line, just making sure that I'm not passing through the line chart itself, and then I'm on top of it. And then, sometimes the wicks, just depends on which one is better. I try to see where I'm at in terms of, let me see if I can turn off some of the noise. Okay, I can. Let me turn the weekly off as well. All right. So this was the it's on the daily real quick. So this was the rising formation that we were in on Hyperliquid. So it wasn't as if I wasn't looking for Hyperliquid to get a sell-off, because I was, but I was expecting for Hyperliquid to hold here. Now, when Hyperliquid lost this level right here, it lost some very important stuff. Not just the golden pocket, not just the bandwidth one, I think it also may have lost like the 20 SMA on the weekly time frame or something like that as well. Um, so that actually puts Hyperliquid in jeopardy of potentially coming back down towards that. Let me put the weekly levels back on. So we're at a weekly level right now, which is also in confluence with the 786, same where we were here at the golden pocket, and a weekly level in there. And this was the latest one, so I really expected for this one to hold because this one was so brand new, but it didn't. Even though I know we have this formation and we're looking for the breakdown, so that could put Hyperliquid all the way back down here at 23. That's the next weekly level. If it's going to be a swing move, then this could be it right here for Hyperliquid. Now we do have the squeeze in here that is continuing to go on. And I know it can go on for a minute, at least until it breaks the 20 SMA, or at least until I see a change here, which we're far away if I look here on the daily time frame. So if I just turn these off, let me just decline on all of these. I can see right here with the RSI where we broke it right here, which this lined up perfectly together. So that was double confluence right here of this being the tipping point right here for Hyperliquid right here. So we're far, like we're so deviated from the 20 SMA on the daily as well. This one right here is even higher than the 20 SMA. So we're really deviated from it right now. And plus our low is rising, which again, when our low is rising, we are looking for prices to reject and come to the downside. Like it didn't do it right here because it bounced off of it. So it was in confluence with the support level right here when it got the bounce and broke back above the 20 SMA in here. So we're far from it right now, which leads me to believe we could either do we can also do this 32 in here where we have the VWAP at, because there was a 4 hour level in here which you can't see on this daily time frame because I blocked it from the daily, but you can see it right here. So there's a 200 EMA sitting in here, and then there's the VWAP sitting in here around 31. So that is what I'm watching. So since we lost the golden pocket and we lost the bandwidth one, where we got an initial little bounce off of it, but it really didn't do much for us. It's these three levels right here. This is it. Like this is it to take a position in Hyperliquid. This is it. Nice little doji candle in here, but we've seen that before too, where it looks like it was stalling out. Nice little candle wick right here, where it looks like it was stalling out. But this is actually breaking this. I should get back into this. I closed this out. I didn't set a stop loss on this one. I had a stop loss on, I had two other positions open, which was that Aster and Hemi. I had my stop loss in place for those. I really didn't have any concern about Hyperliquid because I had used such low leverage on it that, I mean, it would have got me down here, in between here. I didn't want to take the chance of prices coming all the way down here and losing my money either. So I just went ahead and took the little small loss that I had on it when I saw it continuing to drop past the golden pocket. So I took that little loss, and I'm almost interested in getting back into it right now though. Got about 35 more minutes left here on this candle. I may consider that. I wanted to buy it in the spot position, but I couldn't. But I think that this thing is long overdue for the bounce. And I think it may have flirted around with it. Like I think it may have gotten like a small little reaction through here. It did. So you see right here how we got the little move up on it right here with the squeeze. We got that small little move up, but we capped out real quick. And then we got the rejection. And I've been watching the RSI as well. So we have the strong bull dips in here that just have not been given. You know what? I'm about to get back into Hyperliquid. I hate to do it from this point right here because that probably puts my stop loss in the same spot. And I'm just going to be getting back into it. But I actually like that. And I know Bitcoin is a devil right now. I'm going to take my chances, and I'm just going to do it based on this. So if it rolls back over on me, then okay, eventually I'm going to make that money back. That's the hope. Eventually I'm going to make that money back, but I am getting in on this thing. Let me go back over here. Let me switch my account. To the same one I took a little L from today and keep it. But Aster just broke market structure on the 15-minute time frame. I'm not interested in Aster though. I think that it's overhyped at the moment, so I'm gonna leave it alone because it's not better than Hyperliquid. It's not. It's just a shiny. It's just a brand new toy, and eventually someone will get tired of playing with it and put it back on the shelf. And that's what I say about that. Okay. So I did just open on Hyperliquid, and I don't doubt, like I said, I knew it was going to put me somewhere back in here on my stop loss, which is fine. If I have to take another little small loss, I will. But I actually like that. So I'm going for it. You cannot deny the bull divs in here that are just not playing out with the squeezing pressure and probably even oversold. No, we were not oversold. We can't be over. Yeah, we were oversold right there as well. The squeeze and the oversold. In fact, each time we got the little bounce off of it, I did notice this earlier, it was within the squeeze and within oversold. So yeah, I'm taking my chances. That's what I'm doing. Taking my chances, and hopefully we end up breaking this or something and getting the push back up. I'm still thinking that we come back up and we back test the neckline in here on all altcoins is what I'm thinking, including Bitcoin, because that hasn't happened yet. So I'm still thinking that we would do that. In fact, that would temporarily change market structure on the lower time frames for Bitcoin and for altcoins if we can manage to do that. I bought into resistance. Yay. Who lives like this? Me. I bought into resistance. Don't ever do that. But I'm taking my chances. Yeah. I'm taking my chances on this right now, but I just straight bought into resistance. I mean, what else was I going to do? Dang. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Clean into resistance. So it should reject and come back down a little bit, and I'm going to add to the position, and I'm just going to see if I can't get the move out of it. But that's Hyperliquid. It did when it lost this level right here. It was a critical level for it. And if I push out on my weekly again, let me just push out on my weekly here. Nah, I don't really like it. Theoretically, like I was saying, around that 30 something dollars, a lot of times you come back into these. A lot of times you'll come back and you'll back test the region where you got the most explosive move out of price action. But we didn't actually put in any gaps or anything in here. I'm sorry, I haven't looked at chat or anything. If there was something in here for chat, okay, so there's nothing there for chat. Okay, great. We actually didn't gap or anything in here outside of this section right here. Yeah, that's the breakdown squeeze right there. When it's red, that's where you're looking for it to break down. So I knew that we would get a pullback on it. I just wasn't facilitating that it would happen just yet. I thought, okay, everybody's super bullish on it. It can still keep going. Maybe just squeeze and stay red for a minute. But bull div in here on the weekly time frame, you gotta love it. I mean, right now it is. We still have a couple of days in here for this to confirm. But right now, we know that we're not below this low right here. We know that we're not below this low, although we're below it over here. We know that we're not there yet. And we're coming into the 20 SMA right here. So, yeah. That's that. That's that. By the time I draw it out, it will put all of the noise back on the chart. Watch it all pop back up. And there it is with that weekly level right here. I can just take that away then. With that weekly level right here. That's that. But that's our bandwidth one right in here. And VWAP is down here at 32 again. So we could potentially do something like that right here within this VWAP. Probably even push through it a little bit if that happens. But I mean, I like the 4 hour chart. It just hasn't given me what I've been looking for yet. But I have no reason to not like this. I'll see how we do when we come back up here, and you can just drop a trend line. You don't have to, like, you can drop a trend line. Let me see if make sure it matches first. No, that doesn't match. So you would have to. No, it still doesn't give you what I'm looking at, which is going to be in here. So I'm just looking to see how it reacts around that 36.86 level. If we reject there, which is likely going to be back testing into the golden pocket in the bandwidth one, so it could possibly push up into here. We'll see how it reacts in here. If we're going to reject there, if we're going to double bottom, and then we're going to go. That's just taking a little clout from Hyperliquid, but they are not the same. They are not built the same. This is a way better project right now. Way better. And from what I understand, CZ is talking about a lot of different altcoins all of a sudden now. So it's just a lot of stuff. Now this it is Hemi. You can see this rollover here on Hemi. I was watching this last night, which is why I did make sure I had my stop loss in place for this one right here, because it had this rising formation in here off of the indicator here. So that was the pattern for the bearish divergence here. You can see it was showing like we were going to get this break to the upside right here. So you would have been looking at this. You possibly would have been looking at this like, okay, inverse head and shoulder right here. But when push came to shove, it was bearish. Absolutely bearish. And it just ended up being the gift that kept on giving. Which brought me back to this. This is what I was going to say to you. Let me turn that off. Here on this QTD, you can see how we haven't had any interaction with the lower dynamic cloud. And I'm referring to this white line. Typically, this will interact. So you don't see any buy signals like this right here, or any, I mean, these are sell signals. You don't see any buy signals though, like down here, which has been my hesitancy with Hyperliquid, because this has made no attempt to push back up into it. And I know that without that happening, it can just be a lower high right here, and it continues to roll over. I do want to see interaction take place between here. I do want to see this finally show me a change of behavior, so I can say, hey, you're right about wanting to mess with it. I want to see a change of behavior. I want to see it interacting with it and giving me some sort of a buy signal. And it just hasn't done that so far. So it's just been continuing to roll over and put in this bear div right here. Like you can see the first bear div. You don't actually see a bear div in here, but it did put in the first bear div right here. And yeah, you don't even see the bullish divergence off of this indicator, but you can see it here off the RSI. So I'm just going with that. I think it's a winner if we can just catch the right moments. And I can honestly not tell you when the right moment is. I just keep taking my chances with it and take a small loss here and there. Just trying. Because as far as the levels go, I mean, that's where we're at. I just try off of each level So I should have been looking at this earlier to get in there. But if not there, then like I said, come down here. Got 20 SMA sitting right in here. And then you have VWAP sitting right down here. So this one is 38 to 36. So it's a $2 difference. That's not bad. You know, for entry and stop loss, that's not bad because you're not at a lot of risk right there, especially if you use the right amount of leverage. And then here at VWAP, it's $1 difference, probably less than $1 difference if you take the trade from in here. If it gets here and you decide I want to get long on it, it's very minimal, very minimal. And then yeah, I heard someone sharing something negative on Hemi. I don't know how to feel about that, but it's not like it's something that I'm in love with because I don't know anything about the charts. To be honest, I'm just looking for whatever is pumping to make some money in the market. I did note that on the 1 hour, it did pretty well with the 60 EMA when it came back into the 60 EMA. And that was yesterday, but let me see where it is today in terms of that 60 EMA. So, yeah. It said screw your 60 EMA is what it said. Like here, it rolled over it very, very slightly right there. And then right there, it did fine with it. And if I look back at it, it never deviated that far off from the 60 EMA. You can see this is the 60 EMA. This one right here, this is the 60 EMA. But suddenly now, oh no, I wouldn't be touching this. Personally, nah, it's still trading outside of a 5 EMA. Like it hasn't even got a closure above a 5 EMA just yet. Maybe if it closes above the 5 EMA, maybe I can think about it here at this level right here. If it holds this level and I finally see it push above this 5 EMA, maybe we got something to talk about here. But right now, nothing. And then, of course, this is your 200 right here. I'm really not interested in Hemi, so I'm going to move on past that. This is Avantis. And I did a new indicator, and I'm just trying to see how it's going to work. So forgive all the noise. I'll just go ahead and let me tell you what this is right here, though. It's supposed to be price action versus the RSI. So it takes an average of price action right here, and over a period of time, it just averages it out to say it's not like the moving average, but it averages out price action over time, and it shows where the strength is coming from. But the price action is showing the strength of whether the RSI is showing the strength. And so I just started doing this thing yesterday, so I'm just trying to see how it's going to work. So far, the only thing I noticed with it, which I don't like, I think it lags a little bit. So I'm gonna keep working on this one, and come back to it later. I'm gonna take it off the chart. I just have to come back to that. So we lost the level in here. I narrowed this down to just the 4-hour levels in here. And then the next level for Advance is going to be down here. Now there is some 1-hour stuff you can do, like this little section in here. You can look at this in here and see if you can get price action to hold here. I would draw it off of this candle right here and see if you can get it to hold in there, unless it gives us a reason to look at it again. I'm not feeling advances either right now. Not right now. But that was a really nice rejection from there. Otherwise, because it's so new, you don't have a lot to work with. 129, 124s, it would be what I would be looking for. Like that's the highest time frame I can pull data off of. Really, the way that I pull data anyway, it's going to be there. And then again, like I said, this is Aster. Aster did sweep the liquidity right here, so that's a plus. It tried to hold the zone in here initially, which is where I got long at, and again, and I took that, and then yeah, Thursday. No, that wasn't it. I must have been somewhere else because I got stopped out on this one, so it couldn't have been that. I don't think it was that, but I got 1, 2, 3 confirmations. I'm getting long right here off of Vantis. Sorry, off of Aster. 1, 2, 3 confirmations. You line it up. You got your RSI, Austin right there. You got your Bollinger percent crossing right there, and you have your MACD, which flip colors to a rising color right there. So this low right here, that was a pretty good call around that support level. Slight bear div to be had between here and here. Slight bear div. Plus, you didn't have, you can say you had a pivot right here. You can probably say you had a pivot there. Let me see how that lined up. Yeah, you can probably actually do it like that. Yeah, I'm gonna do it like that. See what happens. But I still think that this thing is overvalued. Even from here, it's overvalued. We push out. Yeah, I would still say that it's overvalued. Yeah, I wouldn't mess with that. Let's go SUI, and then I'm gonna look at some other altcoins. So let's see, SUI. I'm gonna do it from this time frame over here with SUI. Let's see if we see this real quick. You have to forgive all the TA over here on the chart. So it does add some noise to the charts. I know it does, but the pattern formation here that I mentioned to you, which I actually took this from the weekly time frame, which is why you see it cutting through here, because I drew it off of the weekly time frame. And so that's what we're tapping back into right now. Golden pocket again. And remember, I said to you multiple times, I just think the SUI has some unfinished business. Now, the last time I looked at SUI, it did look like it had like a little inverse head and shoulder, potentially that it could try to break, the zones in here. So I highlighted it. But I did a video on SUI, and in that video, I highlight resistance points. I highlight this one, which price pushed through. And like I say, when it pushes through a level that I'm looking for to hold as act as resistance, it will typically act as support. So it came back down and back tested that level right there. And then that next one right here. And I kept saying, oh, if SUI goes beyond this point right here, I'm going to short the crap out of SUI. Of course, I did not take a short. Of course, I did not. I did not take a short. And it tried and it failed. And I'm still under the impression that SUI can come back down here around this 194 within here. Unfinished business would be how every other time when SUI got the breakdown, it came into the pocket. And here it just did that. So that was reason for, like, what are you doing? Like, you're acting different right now. This is how men get caught. They switch up on you. And women catch on to that. Okay, you acting a little different right now. Yeah. So SUI's a little different in here. I sound like I have trauma. I don't. I have a good man. A little trauma and a little trauma. A little discrepancy from his previous behavior. Let me just put it like that. So and I do maintain that Sui could potentially come down into here. Sui is constantly going to be a thing with the unlocks, and I think that that was one of the things with Hyperliquid too. Unlocks. I mean, it was very, very, very overextended for one, and then you have the unlocks. So always going to be a catalyst for new tokens these days. But I'm gonna go over here to Sui's lower time frame, and I'm gonna switch this up to the 4, and I'm gonna jump on some of the other altcoins. We're completely out of the weekly level right there. And typically, again, I did not sell my Sui. I still have my Sui. It's a little bit in the water right now because, like I said, I would only buy at spot. I would not leverage trade this. Only buy at spot because you are at risk of it continuing to fall down. Let's look at an actual XRP chart. So XRP again, holding the low of this weekly level, which is down here at 274, which is what it typically, you know, and that was the measured move, of course, here from this break and that. So that's for field. And yeah, just back testing this weekly level again. If it loses it, then, you know, again, and I repeat this every time I come on, but nothing ever changes here. If it loses it, then you start to look at 260 down to 238. And these levels do not change. I may get a new one as weeks go on. I may end up getting a new one, or maybe I have to move it ever so slightly, but it takes a very, very, very long time. Like the ones I have on Solana, they have been there for several years, and price action always comes back to these same levels, always. So you're good for these levels. I would be looking at the 260 down to 238 if it continues to roll over in here. Same thing for Sol. Like I said, these levels have been here for Solana forever. Forever? Yes, forever. All right, so we lost our level in here. We absolutely fulfilled this right here. And we even looked like we started to get a little bit of a bounce off of our low down here at the weekly level range in here. We broke that. And then you have this daily one in here along with this trend line through here, which this is our no right here. But if it does continue to push down, then I'll be looking at 188. And I won't be mad if it does. I will not be mad if Solana does, because it'll give me a good opportunity. Well, actually, see it. I actually want Solana to drop way lower. I stake my soul, and I absolutely need more. I need more. So I would not be mad if this thing just rolls over. But 188 to 164, that'll be the next zone if it doesn't hold this daily level in here. And you can see we did get 2 bounces off of this daily level in here. Yeah, we got 2 bounces off of it. So if it loses the daily along with the ascending trend line in here, because it most certainly did not hold this one in here. It did tease it a little bit on the back test, but 188 to 164 is what I will be looking for Solana. And I will open up the gates to see what we look like down here. I know I have that in here. I just don't have it on. I just started using it and just fell in love with it. So I like to add it here and there. Okay, we could already see that we have the compression in here but we got a low in here. It did tilt up a little bit in here, so maybe we can. That looks gosh awful right there. You see all that gray? Like there isn't a bull in sight. All that gray, there is not a bull anywhere. So because it has, I mean, that was the first change of character right here from where it broke down below it there. But like I said, you can get a faster signal from here when it breaks outside of the bands and then comes back inside the band. You can get a faster signal over here. So you could have used that. You would have got a little bit of a spike, but your stop loss would have been right. You've been okay. And then of course you had the cloud cover right here on the RSI. So that's double confluence right there. But yeah, you can get a faster signal over there. But from where it broke down here, which was also in confluence with losing the low of this level right here, yeah, it had not come back into contact with this until right in here. So it's starting to squeeze. So you can say that you have a change of behavior in here. But this is just a 4-hour time frame. So take it with a grain of salt in terms of how much of a bounce you will get. When you get your bounce, you can just wait for your 20 SMA if you feel more comfortable with that, simply because it is chopping in here. You can just simply wait for a 20 SMA break, and we'll check to see if that, let me just add the actual, I don't think I have it in here. I don't. Let me just do just the SMA itself and see if we have it in confluence with the trend line. Because that can help confirm it. And then if it moves too far away from it, then you know you don't want anything to do with it just yet. It could be an accelerated move down. I'm going to do it like that just to see. Okay, so that's very high up. That will not work for me. I mean, unless this curves back up, I don't see a reason. Maybe we chop in here, allow this to relax a little bit, and then from there be looking for a break above, and then take an entry on Solana. Like you can test out the support level in here if you like, and just know you're gonna cut it, just to minimize your losses on it. I mean, you're pretty close in here to this 188, but if you need to minimize losses on it, then you can just reassess the situation if it comes down here into this 188. But you are at support, and you have double support, ascending trend line, and then a daily level of support right here for Solana. And what's the name? It probably already fell back on me. I am still holding my Crow position. I did not close out Crow because I did enter pretty low down. But before I take an L, I probably will close it out. I don't know that there's really any TA to give you on Crow. Weekly level there. We tried to hold the 4-hour range, didn't work out. So you can see we managed to try to hold it in here, didn't work out. Tried the golden pocket, didn't work out. Rejected from, this must be another weekly level in here, and I just didn't add a title to it. Rejected from that weekly level right there. So I will be looking at 14. I got these numbers wrong, so sorry. 16. 1646 to 1465, so 2 cents move in here. I guess that's what not 2 cents move. I don't even know what that is. Yeah, 2 cents. I already looked at SUI. Binance coin, we saw that already because Binance coin had hit resistance, so naturally head and shoulder potentially right here for Binance coin. And let's see, we were trying to see if we were going to get up to there at first, so I'm just going to hide this so I don't have to redo it. But there is nothing along the way in here for Binance except I have to go back and look at Binance weekly chart to see what levels it has created through here on this entire, I don't know, looks like an ascending broadening formation right here. And there's possibly, something in here and something in here off of these highs in here. Binance Coin is really hard because you don't know if the moves on Binance Coin is authentic or not, and it may not actually be. But any closure below here, you can break market structure, and you'll continue to see this one come down. Maybe even put in some sort of a formation. But it did break this trend line, so typically because this is a broadening formation. Okay, so we can look down here towards these lows. If it plays it out fully, then we can take a look at that down here around 840. Yeah, around 840 for BNB. I just want to stick to your top ones in here. So we're just backing at 78 down to 72 level in here for ADA and below BWAP. It looks like we may have already played this out, and I can't remember if and if you're okay, so you're there right now on this. And so for double tops and for consolidation, like sideways ranges, you're always going to look for a one-to-one, a minimum of looking for a one-to-one. So you can map it out how you want to. I do it on the fib levels, and I also do it on my parallel channel where I'll add a 2 in here, and that's what this level right here is. So the one-to-one on this is here, right there. So just the standard, whatever they have on it, and then just adding a 2 to the downside, and then a -1 if I was looking for it to break up. So if it was a double bottom, then I do a -1 for the upside. But that's what I do with bases and double tops, and it usually does well. So 78 to 72, and if we lose that, then of course we'll be looking down here at 62, which would be the next level in here. Maybe we can get an SFP in here, because you can consider this to be support now. I didn't actually have a level in here, but we did bounce in here, and I think that this just actually lined up with like a 20 SMA or something like that at the time on a different time frame. But we can also look here, back here at this inefficiency at this low right here, push come to shove, and look for an SFP. Otherwise, we'll be looking to hold in here. And again, it's another 4-hour time frame that's just coiling up, and I haven't seen where we have any special news coming out that let's see, tomorrow, because whatever happened today is over. So you have GDP tomorrow and core PCE, and that's going to conclude our week along with the consumer sentiment. So I don't, let me see next week. I'm trying to figure out what we're holding out for on this 4 hour that we're not getting those big moves on a 4 hour just yet. So we have Fed Chair Powell speaking again next week on Tuesday. I'm at 12:35. And then we also have on, let's see, we also have Flash Manufacturing on Tuesday. Like I said, Fed Chair Powell will be speaking then. And unemployment claims, final GDP, durable goods. What else we got? Existing home sales, for PCE. I really don't know what we're holding out for on the 4 hour, but we should be seeing some sort of a recovery on the 4 hour. It's been like 3 days now of me talking about it, and it hasn't happened yet. But I don't know what to say to that, because 4 hours are coiling, just not going. You can see it. Try it right here. Put in a bear dip. No, you didn't put in a bear dip there, did you? Yeah, it did. It put in a bear dip right there. So that first attempt just didn't work out for it. You got weak lows because you have a higher low. So that means you have bullish divergence down here, which is what we're seeing on a couple of them. You got the bull dip down through here. So, and we're back at a support level. So I'm just going to take my chances at support levels where I see the bullish divergence and I know that we're there. I'm just going to take my chances every 4 hours, just looking for it every time we hit it. But this is not rolling over just yet. Not yet. And this trend line looks like it hits different. And if I do it like that, it does. So you can just do that on your ADA chart to look for that break to the upside. Since this is, it does have the moving average running down it, which is again a great way to confirm trend line breaks. But if it stops somewhere around a pivot, then you just want to draw a horizontal line. If it stops anywhere near a pivot, like this one right here is below it, so you're not going to worry about that one. But if for some reason, something happens in here and this line is sitting anywhere close to it, you just want to do a horizontal line, because if you break up, you can back test it and drop again before you do get a go on it. Okay. I think that's going to be it on those altcoins. I know HBAR is a very popular one. I do still have my HBAR position open, and HBAR is another one that absolutely played out perfectly on your formation, which I did not look at total 2, because this is exactly what total 2 looks like. So you can gauge total 2 as well, like what's happening. Total 2 VWAP. Flat across here is our VWAP, and I can take this one off, but flat across here is our VWAP. So we're below VWAP right now, but we did play out our measured move, and you do have nice trend line through here. In line with your 20 SMA here for, oh, I like that. Look at that. I like that, but we'll see what comes about with it. Because right now we're bouncing off of our previous trend line down through here, and it is creating this wedgie structure. So you're trapped in between support and resistance. You'll form a pattern. So we got something going on right here. We slip it, then we'll be looking down here. Why is this so far out? If we slip it, we'll be looking somewhere down around 19 to 16 cents, unfortunately. So we had this little zone in here, which was just the neckline back test, and it was drawn off of the line bias. So I drew it off of the line bias, and that's in sync with what we're seeing here. And that's your 20 SMA that you're slightly below right here too on the weekly time frame. So H bar is slightly below it. So you do want to see H bar get back above that 21,287 right now. Yeah, it looks like when it tries to attempt to come back up, it's going to hit resistance right there, right around where that 20 is too. So it may not make it, and then we could see prices again come down here into this 19 to 16 cents here for H bar. High and low is what I usually like to go off of, unless for some reason there was something inside of this range that I didn't highlight, and I just forfeited it by just looking at the absolute low and the high on it. So you have your double top measured move. You have your neckline from the double bottom breakout, and hopefully just a back test here for H bar. And you also have your descending trend line through here. So hopefully that works out, and we can see H bar push back up through here and break above here and keep it going. All right. Oh, let me look at link. Look at link. Chain link. All right. So no good with the weekly level. And this daily one in here, it's done working for it. I mean, nothing new has changed with nothing new has changed here with Chainlink. Structure did change, but aside from that, let's see. This daily level in here is between 20 and 19 cents, but usually with a swing, you'd be looking to come back down to a weekly level. If it's going to be a swing anyway, that's going to be between 19 and I don't know why this is off, unless it just happened to be moving it. Let me see. Yeah, it probably just happened when I touched it. Yeah, it did. I accidentally. Hold on. Why is that happening? I'm just trying to spread it out. Okay. I don't know why that was happening. All right. So yeah, 18.15 to 15:38 for let me make sure that's correct. Let me lock this in because that thing was moving on me. For Chainlink. And let me just zoom out to see. I mean, we're still respecting the structure over here. I mean, you had this right here, which can be some sort of a, I don't know, bullish flag or something happening in here. I know some people are looking at this like a cup and handle. I'm not. I don't like cup and handles, so you're not going to get that out of me. But we do want to hold right here. We want to hold right here. If we start to come into here, it's a little bit more risky, but you can see the 20 SMA is right here also at the 18.59. So yeah, if we can just do that, either hold in here on this daily level, or if we have to slip the daily level, if we're not able to get the buy orders through here, the demand through here, and then we can check it again right here and see if we get the bounce. But I mean, right now this still looks fine. I would not complain about it, not at all. And let me check back in on Hyperliquid and see if I'm losing, which I am. I bought slap into resistance. So, yeah, that's okay because I did. I bought that resistance, boy. Like, who does that? And me, when I'm not paying attention, I straight up bought resistance. But either way it goes, like I said, I will add in here, look for us to hold in here. Not down that much because it's just a small move, and I'm using 5x on this right now. And before I wasn't using a lot of leverage on it either, so it's just a little 5x leverage, which is fine. So I'm going to add to it in here. And if we don't hold in here, then I'll cut it, and then I'll look to see how we do if we come down here into our next zone, which again is at 38.36 right here. Check back in on Bitcoin, see what it's doing. And of course, it put in a little lower high right here on this 15-minute, which means we probably did the same thing over there. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's done though. And make sure I don't have that Bollinger on here. I don't. before I add it to it. Yeah, so it's just barely hanging on to it right there. It's barely hanging on to it, so I might not need to count it out. Holding on in here as well. So we'll see what happens right here. Maybe it pushes back up and then it breaks. It's 1 hour coiling. Yeah. So 1 hour started coiling a little bit in there. This was no good to us right there. Was no good to us. But that's fine. And again, before I get out of here, because I am gonna jump off, I'm a little tired. I've been gone. I've been up since, I don't know, super early, super early, trying to drive in the dark. I had appointments today, so I've been up since. I mean, I usually get up around 3 o'clock anyway, but I've been up since 3 a.m. and out on the road since 3 a.m. So yeah, again, monthly candle low. We're gonna be looking at that to see if for any reason, because again, if we do that, then that's the first time we will have closed a candle, um, closed below a candle on the monthly time frame. So expect to see us coming down more if that happens. And when that happens, all your confluence is down here. Can you get a bounce in here? But all your confluence is going to be down here again, down here. 60 EMA where we seen it bounce. 60 EMA where we seen it bounce off of the weekly. It's all going to be down here. Golden pocket, 786, CME gap, all going to be down in here somewhere. Like I said, this can move. I can easily move this a little bit if I need to. I chose this level right here. I just chose it. But before, maybe I chose it because of this. Before it reaches here, I'll be sure to get us a sniper of an entry that I can find. But that's gonna do it for me. Thank you for joining me. Just if you have, no, I'm not gonna tell you to do that. I'm not trying to give you financial advice. All I know is I went into cash on several things, and there are some projects I think are really great projects that I just bought that I'm not gonna sell out of, unless for some reason I've seen them perform in the past and it just wasn't there. Then I'm letting it go. But I am sitting a little bit more in cash right now. Coin is dropping also. The last time I looked at coin, it was, where are we at now? Coin 306. So coin stops pumping. I don't have a reason to think that Bitcoin is going to keep pumping. Coin typically leads Bitcoin in the move, and everybody's trying to get into gold right now. So just still in the shine. And how about that? Aster just actually came up and hit our trend line and rejection. Let me see. See if I have it. It's not showing up. Oh, there it is. Oh, I have it drawn out differently on another chart though. I actually have it coming up from the low on another chart that I'm sitting here analyzing. But you can see, let me see if I can't put this on a 4. It may have been this. And sure enough, that's what it was. Back test on that trend line and reject it. So yeah. So it was that off that daily time frame. Looks like a little inverted head and shoulder right here. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, back into support zone right here. I'm not trading this thing though. Still above the mean, still above the 20 SMA with the dashed line is right there. Still above the added. Yeah, I'm not gonna do this. You can see the MACD might be rolling over on this thing. Golden pocket is sitting down here and 786 is sitting here as well. So just let it hit a fib level and then I'll think about it. But right now, no. It's overvalued. All right. So my computer has slowed down and frozen up on me, so I know it's time for me to go. And with that said, I look forward to seeing you in the morning at 5 a.m. my time. Probably later your time, but I will be back at 5 a.m. unless something jumps off in the market where it's like I did my first emergency stream. I think it was like day before yesterday, where I streamed at like 3 a.m. in the morning instead of my 5, which I don't mind. But if something comes up, then I will come out of the woodworks. But right now, I'm just going to keep my eyes on. I don't think I have a reason to look at a 4 hour here for Bitcoin anymore. Not really. But the 1 hour just started calling. So I keep my eyes out on the 1 hour. And again, look at us almost coming back down here to look at that. That's sad. That and you can see that's your monthly low as well. That low right there from that bounce that we got back here, that's your monthly low as well. So a lot easier for you to understand that that's where it's coming from. Close below there. That's the first time we've closed a candle lower, because we haven't. You can see ever since we got this we closed candles lower over here. But we haven't done so since we got this pivot up. That candle didn't close lower. That one didn't. That one didn't. That one didn't. And this would probably be the first time that we would close a candle lower. Doesn't mean we have to roll over super far. But it counts. It counts when we do. Why are you freezing? That was that one. We didn't close on that one. It was this one. So it doesn't have to go far. But it usually does tend to lead us down lower when we do that. It's probably going to change your market structure on your daily, I believe. I want to say weekly, but it might be your daily time frame. I'm having a brain fart right now because I don't know. But I'll see you at 5 o'clock in the morning. I appreciate you being here, and I love you.